flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is to adopt tonight's agenda. I don't believe there are any changes.
Move that we adopt an agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt tonight's agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are there any guest presentations? And no public comment. Okay. So the first action item is the annual meeting business and election of all the chair, vice chair, treasurer, and negotiating team. So I'll turn it over to Steve to start the process.
Yep, I have a cheat sheet this year. This is good. Okay. As superintendent of the school district, I'll declare the office of chair of the board open and ask for nominations.
I'll nominate Don Parks.
I second that.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second. Okay. All those in favor of Don Parks being the chair, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And motion passes. Thank you.
I guess back to me, huh? Okay. Let's see what to say now.
I don't know, but you know what though, I'm not sure, 100% sure if those are in the same order that I have here, but I think we might. So I'll just take a look at it.
Oh, we'll give it a shot. Okay, nominations are open for vice chair.
I nominate Chad.
Second that. It's been moved and seconded to nominate Chad Heidenberger. Are there any other nominations? We'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of Chad Heidenberger as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Our treasurer, we need to appoint a present treasurer, so is there a nominee of appointed treasurer?
I'll nominate Kendall.
I'll second. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded that we nominate Kendall as treasurer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We also need a clerk. Is there a nomination for clerk?
I would like to nominate Amy Koopman.
What's that about? It's been moved and seconded we nominate Amy Koopman as the clerk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Do we even need a deputy treasurer?
No, we don't have any of those, no.
So I think we're down to who wants to serve on the negotiating committee? Need a couple people. Nominate Ryan.
Works with it. Who wants to join?
I can do it.
Are there any other nominations? So we will vote, I guess. We'll vote to elect Ryan and Chad as representatives to the nominating committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
You need a second for.
We need a second. We have Ireland as the first. We need a second for Ryan and Chad.
Oh.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you.
Sorry.
Here.
Okay. Meeting dates. They're listed in your packet.
I think there was one error on August 20th. I think it should be 18th. So June, July, August, we would be meeting on Mondays, the rest of the year,
you're right.
Wednesdays.
You're talking about August, right?
Okay. Yes.
August 18th. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. This, I put this together. This is just follows the pattern we followed this year. Some of the summer ones, I moved a little bit because of my schedule actually. Like I moved the June one back a little bit. Anyway, it's pretty close. But it's all, I mean, ultimately like whatever you guys prefer.
Yeah. So you need a motion to approve the calendar with the amendment? Or how do you, with the modification?
Yeah, with the, it's just a typo, that's all it
Well, I'll
is.
move to do that.
Do the first, do the second, okay?
Been moved and seconded that we adopt the board meeting calendar for this year, noting that Monday is August 18th and not 20th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, so I think we got all that then. Agenda item, approve the consent agenda, which is minutes from the December 8th regular meeting, bill payments, classified personnel action, certified personnel action, and minor edits to the ISBA. And on those policies, they're usually just minor edits. When I looked at them, it was just like, instead of, it's like they instead of he and she or something like that. So, if anybody has any ones they want to pull out, we can pull them out and make the other review. But otherwise, it's probably fine.
In a few of those policies, there was some optional sections in the yellow. The board has already decided how they wanted to handle those optional sections, so I'm not doing anything different with them because we had them already done.
So we were just billed for one of the HVAC units.
Yeah, they asked if we could pay them back right away for the units, and then they billed us later for the labor costs associated with that. And I'll
So this is for both units, but not in the labor yet.
not the labor, no, but I'll talk a little bit about that in the financial report too.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just the one.
I had a question. I mean, it's just, I was just caught my eye. So I see Calvin got paid for the driving the bus to the, and Justin must have did it one day. Did he get paid separately for that?
He did, yep, so that's paid out of the ELC. So that's a stipend we offer to the bus drivers to drive the preschool bus through the ELC.
I just thought he got paid salaries. I would just do something like that. I didn't know.
Yep.
Okay.
motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Informational reports, financial reports.
Okay, in front of you is the ICCU balances and LGIP balances. So like I just mentioned, we had 2 payments there in the 4120 LGIP fund to APHVAC totaling $51,000, just over $51,000 for the district and library rooftop units. That was for the units themselves and the labor costs associated with that. I do apologize, under the budget update, I said 12/31/2025. That is the budget update as of 2024, so I had a little error there. Dawn had mentioned at the last meeting about the $0 amounts on the property tax bills. I did speak with Nez Perce County and Latah and Clearwater County actually, and this was all part of the school savings that taxpayers were receiving related to the school modernization funding. I did attach page 3 of that bill, and I highlighted for you paragraph 3, so you could kind of read through it yourself. I do have a whole copy of the bill here if anyone is interested in reading that. It just kind of explains the relief that this provides to taxpayers. Money is still being collected from levy funds, just at that lower rate. Latah County did a really good job of labeling as school savings on their property tax bill. Why Nez Perce and Clearwater County chose not to do that, I'm not for sure. And because we took the school modernization funds as a one-time payment rather than spread out over the 10 years, this is the only tax year that our levy funds and property taxes will be affected. And then, is there any question or anything on that before I move on? Moving on, Ryan did reach out to Steve last week about the upcoming grant for the Local Food for Schools and Child Care Cooperative Agreement Program. I called the SD Child Nutrition Office on Monday and spoke with Pamela Murray. There is $2.6 million from the USDA coming in April, specifically for Idaho school food purchasing. The goal of this cooperative agreement is to get food produced within 400 miles of the school indoor cafeterias. There's a lot of verbiage that goes along with that, and they still don't know how the funds are going to be put through. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a grant that we have to apply for. They're just going to be funds that we have to opt in to receive. So once they'll send out a survey, schools will decide whether they want to opt in or not. If we say yes, then they will grab all those schools that said yes, and it will go by your participation in your school lunch program currently, which we're sitting at 53% participation in K-12, which is pretty low. So I would say one of our goals would be to up that if we did opt in to these funds. She had a lot of suggestions. I did mention our greenhouse that sits empty for roughly 6 months of the school year, and we kind of talked about maybe doing some K-6 curriculum, having the kids come up, plant some vegetables that could be served in our cafeterias, talk about the life cycle of a plant, maybe have people from the U of I come down, master gardeners, maybe get the garden club that we have in our community involved. So there's a lot of good ideas, but until we know how much money we're expected to receive, we can't really plan for that yet. She said worst case scenario, you opt in, you get just a couple grand, it's not really what you do. Your milk for a couple months would be reimbursed because that's produced within 400 miles of your school. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I just attached just the first little bit of that cooperative agreement, the first 3 pages for you to look through if you want. And then the USDA just offers some really, really good information. I just thought it was interesting to add on how we could be using our greenhouse for our school. So more on that to come within the next couple months for sure.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Oh, one more thing. I can keep printing the bills if you want, but it's up to you guys. However you want to do it. If you like the physical copies, I hate wasting 80 pages of paper every month if we don't have to print them, but if you're fine with getting them digitally with the board packet, I'm fine with doing that as well. So, unless someone requests them, I won't print them anymore, so. Okay, thank you, that's all.
All right, technology director's report.
It's been a busy few weeks. As you were probably made aware, we did have our power school issue. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions if you have about that. One of the other issues one of the other things that's going on is that I've been asked by the State Department of Education to be a part of the subject matter expert group for renewal of one of their products. So I'm going to be working with them on that, much in the same way that we kind of did that with the IRI stuff. So that's to be coming. I also sit on the Educational Opportunities Resource Committee for the state, and that's the guys who do the reimbursements for the broadband and the E-rate stuff. And they gave us their mid-year report. And one of the things that really stuck out to me out of that whole report was, and if you remember last month we talked about potentially getting fiber put in, that's on the docket for this, that Region 2 has the most expensive monthly cost per megabit of any of the regions in Idaho by a lot. So we're hoping to, looking at that, trying to expand capacity in Region 2 as well. So, and then we've got the IETA conference coming up next month. And at this time, I think Dory's the only one that signed up to go other than me. So hopefully we can get at least a teacher from both schools to go down to that conference. It's very worthwhile. A lot of stuff out there for teachers and staff and that. So if you got any questions, we're happy to answer for you.
It might be a little early, but what did we learn from this fiasco last week?
Basically, it wasn't us. We had nothing to do with it. It was really bad security practices on their end, and they're in damage control mode right now. So there was a lot of customers globally affected by this. Considering that over 60% of the state of Idaho is on power school, almost all of those were affected by it. If you multiply that by every state that is out there that does that, as far away as Dubai, they were hit. So it was a big one.
Well, we don't put social security numbers on.
No, we don't have social security numbers in the system for students or for staff. The only place that resides in is in our financial package for staff. Idaho Code 33133 specifically states that you will not keep a social security number as a part of an educational record. And so we've always followed that policy. So your EDU ID, your state ID, for them suffices as a social, because that's what we use to track them from birth to grade in the educational system.
So you feel that there isn't anything that we shouldn't be putting on there?
No, we're covered on our end. It was just, like I say, we had nothing to do with it. It was entirely a power school, so we're going to let them clean up the mess from this whole thing.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
All right.
Principal's report.
Okay, you have it in front of you. We gained 3 new students, so we're up to 134, and I just added, it was 1 in 3rd grade and 2 in 6th. Our attendance for December, 99%, and I'm not joking.
Really?
Yeah, that's the numbers.
Yeah.
It was at Mr. Potato Head that I told you about that. Everybody has a Mr. Potato Head, they love it. It's like a competition. They add on a piece, and then if their Mr. Potato Head is full, then they get a popcorn party for that. And it starts back over the next day. So it's pretty fun. So we'll see what January brings. We've already had a little sickness going around, but December was great. I've had some course suspensions in school just in the last couple of weeks, and our happenings, a couple couple of teachers and myself went up to Troy and we observed their math program and talked to Claire, their superintendent, about what they're using for math. I found it pretty enlightening. I'm going to take a couple teachers the following week and then a couple more if we can't afford between subs, so can't all go at once, unfortunately. The other day we had a spelling bee in Henry Higher, our second grade teacher's son. He was a winner on that. And we're celebrating our math week tomorrow. I've got dilly bars that I picked up today, and we're going to do board games for a while, so that'll be fun. We had our fire drill today, and then our ice station results are on the back. And they're looking pretty good. We did dip a little bit in January. That is difficult, but keep going up. Any questions?
The ISIP results, good.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Please, first grade's really working hard. I also have those incentives too for in reading. You know, we have a lot of incentives like if we get on their AR and classroom teachers do a fantastic job too. But also have those little goals along the way.
Superintendent's report.
Okay, at the high school, our enrollment's at 132 right now. Our students of the month in the category of most helpful was John Charlton and Brandon Kurtz. In December, we had 20 referrals and 2 suspensions and 0 bus referrals. Our attendance at the high school specifically took a dip from the prior month, and junior high was pretty solid though at 96.9. No athletics update. District, we had the end of the semester this week, so we started semester finals today, finish that up tomorrow. Tomorrow's an early release day, and then Friday is a work day for teachers to work on grades. HVAC update, units on the library and the district office are complete and running. We're just waiting for final inspection. The U of I Ed Leadership Program is putting together with Region 2 a cohort program at the University of Idaho to work on their principal endorsement. The idea there is to find people that would like to get their principal endorsement, stay in the area, just try to keep them around. Okay, this is just an effort to have more people, in those positions. Just like teachers, admins are harder and harder to come by as well. So, the details of it are coming together. I've reached out to staff to find out what the interest is. There's some interest among 2 of our staff members. We actually already have a lot of staff members, especially at the high school, that already have their principal endorsement. But we do have a couple people in the district that are interested in looking into this a little bit further, so we'll see. Facilities inspection, we're still waiting on that. We don't have the state has had some turnover in that position. Normally it's done by now, I believe, actually. But the person that they have in there now is still trying to finalize all of their certifications in order to do it, so that we're not able to do it yet. So we will see. Vector Solutions course, our second course, is up and available for staff. That's the Youth Suicide Awareness course. There's 2 courses that teachers have to take each year. It's a Youth Suicide Awareness course and then a Bullying Awareness and Prevention Tech course. So we generally split those up in the semesters. But I opened them up both early this year in case people wanted to get them done. So that's going on right now. We have the superintendent monthly meeting today. This time of year, it generally has a lot to do with the legislative session, so just kind of talking about that and what that could look like. Hypotheticals. The superintendent put out a weighted funding formula. I don't know if this will ever come to fruition, but if that were to come to fruition, it would give us about 17,000, 16,000 extra. Is that what it was?
It was like
70. It was a 7. But there's a lot of districts around the state that lose money with that. So I don't, honestly, I'd be surprised if it happened, unless they figured out a way to, you know, basically hold harmless the districts that are losers in it. We'll see. What it does, though, is it weights like our special needs population, and which is certainly what everybody's talking about lately. The other one, of course, is the voucher program. As far as yeah, nothing's happened yet, but that's the other main topic of conversation. That's all I have. Any questions?
So I don't know, let's see what we bring this up, but we've talked about the special needs thing before. Did we try to get extra money for that? In case if that's something that we need to look at someday? Like if that became an issue that we would have a place to get the money?
Well, yeah, we've talked about, I mean, it's definitely a conversation around the state right now. And so I think that's one of the kind of contributing things with the superintendent putting forth that. And I think she's looking for somebody to carry that. But a weighted formula to weight those kids more so there is more dollars for those kids. Because there's a need right now. You know, people are talking more about it, so you're hearing stories around the state that you've got districts with, you know, $0 to spare, small districts, you know, maybe they don't have a levy or something like that, and suddenly like a kid or two move into the district that need a 1-on-1 aid, and you're looking at $100,000. And so that's the conversation right now. So we'll see. We don't, I mean, we don't have like any sort of like separate place where we would like save money for that, except for possibly just in the annual budget, in a line item, if that makes sense. Other questions? Oh. I guess I'll save it for the trustee report, but we sat in on a meeting with Quinn Perry and ISBA the other day, so I can let you talk about it if you want.
I mean, it was yesterday, and it was about the voucher thing, basically. How you could talk to your legislatures about it. There wasn't much new in it. One gal, I don't know what school district was she won, but she did a lot of figuring on what it costs, and it was like, you know, if you have a special ed student that needs lawn one, it's at least $60,000. And when they're talking about the vouchers, it's kind of hard for me to understand some of the reasons why it's happening. But supposedly there's out-of-state interests who want that money, all of that money, and when a school gets its money, what do we have to do? We have to provide a building and teachers and lunch and all this other stuff in extracurricular activities. Well, if you're in an online homeschooling, are they going to want all that money? Do they need all that money, or do they just need money for curriculum? You know, so it might be a gold mine to these online providers. So some of the thinking is that, yeah, fine, let's just pay them for the curriculum, you know, but they don't need a lot of other money. So instead of $5,000 or $10,000 a year, they would need, $1,000 or $2,000. But there's still a lot of interest though in like Bishop Kelly and, well, I guess Logos would be the same thing. That, they would get quite a bit of money out of this if supposedly students whose parents aren't as well off would get more. But everybody feels in the state like that'll go away in a year or two. Anything else on that?
Most of the people on the call were rural districts, because I think it was focused to rural districts.
Yeah.
I think it was just kind of talking about the idea, you know, when people, you know, want to sell the idea of school choice, like parent rights, like it sounds great, but ultimately there's not a lot of school choice in Kendrick, Idaho, or Deary, Idaho. I mean, really, it's us sending our money to the Treasure Valley, and probably Kootenai County, and maybe Bonneville. But I mean, I think that was kind of the overall theme. I mean, the rural districts are going to be the ones that probably take the hit, because it's just going to be money flowing out. There's no money coming in, hardly. Maybe a few homeschool families here and there, but.
And there already is a charter school. You can get Idaho charter school in some schools. So, I mean, they can already do that. Any other trustee reports? Okay, let's do the policies. How do you want to do that, Steve? Do you want to go through each one?
Yeah, I can give the ISBA information.
Okay.
The description of what the amendment is about on each one.
Okay.
And stop me if you'd like to go through it. Okay, policy 1000. So one thing you'll notice if you look at these is that ISBA is putting together they're redoing the policies at the beginning of each category. So 1000, 2000, 3000, etc. To use their words, to help boards use policy to achieve their goals and reflect their priorities, we're releasing new and overhauled policies to open each section of the policy manual. These are highly customizable sections that lay out what the board wants to achieve with the policies in that section. They're intended to serve as a focal point for discussion and as a reference to help the board keep their priorities in mind as they review and revise other parts of that section. So, policy 1000, this is the new governing with purpose policy as described above, that takes the place of the previous 1000, which is now 1005. This is a new optional policy, so if you look at policy 1000, you can see the areas that they deleted and then the areas that they inserted. So anything in yellow is probably what to pay attention to, and they put together a draft, but if there's anything in there that people saw they wanted to edit, we can certainly do that. Either if you have that prepared right now, or even before the next meeting if you want more time to look it over too. And I can read through these if you like. Or I can just give you a moment to read through it.
Yeah, I think we just give everybody a moment.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
So on these optional policies, we usually adopt an optional policy because it gives kind of a structure to all our policies and how the district acts and stuff. But we don't have to. An optional policy, you don't have to.
Okay, if everybody's comfortable with 1000. 1005 is just a renumber, but they did change a little bit of language in there. They took out to that end, the students shall have ample opportunity to achieve their individual and collective learning needs, to provide a thorough system of education, and inserted, therefore the board shall establish and oversee a thorough system of education in which all students achieve their individual and collective learning. So it didn't really substantially change the policy. That one, yep, that was 1005. 2000, same thing, beginning of section policy. I'll let you take a look at 2000. The final policy would remove that yellow section at the beginning of these. And as you go through it, if there's anything that you want to change the language, maybe you talk about deleting it, or if there's something you'd like to add, certainly do that. Think? Move on. Okay. Okay. The next one is 2315. This update removes policy language about awarding PE credit for participation in sports that contradicts the procedure 2700P. It also includes a couple of other minor updates and improvements. This is an optional update to an optional policy. This one didn't really have a lot of changes. It's pretty minor. You can see that there.
Do we do that? Why?
We don't award credit for participation in sports.
You can't charge them, right? You can't pay to play with issues like that.
Right, if they're doing it.
Let's see here, 2700P. This update designates an optional, as optional, a section about awarding PE credit for participation in sports. It also has a note clarifying that boards that opt to award such credit should not charge a fee for those for-credit sports. The new note reflects guidance from the attorney we work on with policy. This is an optional update to a recommended policy. Okay, any questions there? Okay. Next one is 3000, another policy guiding principles section. I'm going to take a moment to look at 3000. That one's not quite as lengthy. when you look at number 7 on policy 3000, we could either, there's a couple of routes there. We could either include all of those as options when it's referring to discipline action, or not. Simply pick one or more. Trying to remember if there was some in the other one. Anyway, if no one has any strong feelings towards it, I'll include all of them as options.
Is that kind of what you do now? I would
Yeah.
say?
Okay. Okay. Next one is 3070. 3070. This update reduces the sharing of information about adult students with their parents, bringing the policy into alignment with recommendations from the attorney we consulted about this policy. This is a required update to an optional policy. So this is referring to adult students, I believe. What's that?
Pretty minor.
Yep, minor. Okay. Next one is 3516, district or school provided EpiPens. This is a first reading on this one. This is a new model policy for boards that wish to keep district or school provided EpiPens on hand in case of an emergency. It was created and reviewed by an attorney per a board request. So we're sharing it with all of our subscribers in case it can be of help to anyone else. This is a new optional policy, probably a good one to have on hand since we do have epinephrine. Not really any things in that policy to, as far as options go, but if you look through it and you want to adjust anything, we can. We can also do that next month too.
Do we have training? Is there something that has training for the administrator?
Yeah, we all went through training.
Have you guys ever used it? Have you ever had to?
Good.
Well, I mean, I know that you could. Have you done it? Do we, the only thing that caught my eye was they immediately transported to a hospital. Like, is that calling the ambulance every time we administer it? Is that, do you read that the same way?
Yeah,
Is that-
well, the parent transported them right after.
Okay.
They came to pick them up and took them. It was clear at the moment, and we did it twice. The parent came and got them and took them right in. But it was clear right after they started, they were able to feed again. Let's see where we 4,000 community relations policy guiding principles again. This policy provides an opportunity for the board to describe what's important to it. The next one is 4105, public participation in board meetings. This one is fairly minor. Changes citizens to members of the district community. And it also adds that a speaker can supplement their comments with additional information provided in writing if they wish.
Do we need to put a time allotment in there for
We already have it, so I'll just keep the one we had before.
3 minutes.
Yep. Okay. 5,000, another guiding principles policy. Actually, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next 4 are all, you just want to take a look at all 4 of those. Those are all guiding principle policies. Okay. If you guys are ready, we'll take a look at 8705. This is a first reading. This one is generative artificial intelligence. This is a new model policy addressing the use of generative AI tools by students and teachers. It addresses topics such as privacy, academic honesty, and the importance of checking any work completed by AI tool before relying on it. This is a new optional policy. While not directly related to this topic, the U.S. Department of Ed has a thought-provoking new guidance document, etc. So if you read that, it doesn't really get into the weeds too far as how it related to, it's just it's general information about AI in the school. But there is a couple sections where we would need to maybe pick a couple things. I think in that first section on the first page, it says select, I think it means, I think it meant to say select one. Superintendent or their designee, or IT department, or something else. I think I'm good with whatever, but if we just go superintendent or designee, then either Dan or I can have our hand in it. The next page at the top, such disclosure shall not be required when AI is used to draft routine emails or correspondence. And it's referring to the section right above it. If an employee uses a generative AI tool for a work-related task, they should disclose that they've done so if the tool's terms of service require it, of course. It would be misleading to the supervisor or the audience, of course, or the work is being used in a context when sources are generally cited, which I think that was probably obvious as well. I think if they were using it for something like just general correspondence or a routine email, I think that's probably wouldn't require disclosure, but it's up to you guys. Okay. I'm gonna keep it. Down below, select one. Parent consent shall be required before students are directed to use an AI tool in any school activity or assignment, or the district shall obtain parent consent for student use of generative AI tools whenever such permission is required by the tool's terms of service.
I would say so.
I would agree with that. We're good with that? That's it. 9,000 is another policy guiding principle page for school facilities. Okay, if we're good with those, I'll bring those back next time in a more finished format. Super.
Is there any board input for future agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Moving second, we